Hello again, it's Noob, and I was searching on AliExpress, as I sometimes do, not a sponsor, and I found this 11-piece HUK KABA Dimple lock rake set. So what is a KABA lock? Well, I think they really mean things like these KABA 8 style locks. So this is a Lips lock, this is a Dutch lock, this is a Lips Octro. I believe it's basically built on the same sort of platform as the KABA, which I believe are now as alloy locks. So I've got some of these. I've got the 2-star SKG version there. We've also got things like this Smith's lock here, which is, again, you can see that kind of vertical keyway with the pins either side. I've got a Godred. I really like this lock actually. Ultra Sherlock. You can see the same kind of thing going on all these keys. I'll just show you the types of keys we're talking about here, these sort of flat keys. All the locks have these open keyways like this, and they're normally vertical rather than horizontal, although I suppose there's nothing stopping you from picking them horizontally if you wish. I've even got a Ultra the bike club with the same kind of KABA style keyway. Now, there are a few people out there who make KABA style picks, including, I think Moki does a set of 3 KABA style picks. But this is the first time I've seen HUK get in on the action, HUK being a relatively well-known Chinese brand who do some good and some not so good lockpicking equipment, but for fair prices. What did I personally pay for this out of my own money? I paid £14.50, which is around 17 US dollars, I believe. So we will have to review them on the fact that this is not a lot of money for an 11-piece set. What do you get? Well, you get this case. It's more like a little shades, glasses style case, what you want to call them. It's perfectly fine. It's actually hard, and it looks quite nice. It keeps everything in there very neatly, but that's all you're getting in terms of a case. You also get, well, they're all numbered, so you can see this goes 7, 8, this is all going to slide around, isn't it? And 9, so they're all laser etched with a number on. So you get 9 picks or rakes, well actually you could say 8 rakes and a KABA style pick. And that is designed so you can pick from the bottom of the keyway like this and then twist it either side to pick the pins. It's a bit short, but maybe it's meant to go on top of one of these turning tools. And what I like is it's got a nice wedge-shaped turning tool here, and it's really thick, because with these locks, you've got quite a big keyway, so you need to get in there. In fact, I would say this is maybe just a little bit too thick and probably needs to be ground down a bit more. And then we've just got a standard twisted wrench like that, which actually may be a lot better for actually raking the locks with. You can see here that they are just pieces of flat metal that have been, I assume, pressed into various sort of zigzag shapes and sometimes into little dimples. Now, sometimes this particular type of rake, if you like, is somewhat marketed for standard dimple locks, but obviously the warding in most dimple locks would mean this wouldn't actually fit in. So you just got basically lots of different spaced peaks and troughs on all of these KABA style rakes. Now, what I think we should do is start on the easier locks, see if we can rake a few open, and then move our way up to the harder locks and see whether we can at least get like a full set or anything going on there, because anything's a good start, right? Normally I would use the turners that come in a kit, but I think that I may need to just find some other turners for these kind of locks. I really like how strong and thick this particular one is, but I think it's just a bit too thick because I like to get quite close into the lock with my turners. We'll see how we go, but if I need to use some extra turners, then I will do, and I'll let you know I'm doing it. All right, let's find some locks. So let's start out with probably the cheapest and least impressive of these locks, which is this Smith's lock, and it's a little bit gritty, but it does work. Didn't cost me very much money, about £7 or so. Well, I've got a bottom of the keyway turner like that, and this rake, will it fit? It will. And we'll give it a little bit of a go. It's certainly raking the pins. But if it doesn't turn, then I might try a different profile. This number 7 didn't work, so let's try a different profile. Let's try number 5. Why? Because I couldn't think of a good reason. I'll be honest with you. It was just something to something to give a go. Oh yeah, we got the open there, even though I flung the turning tool out. I have this big bike D-lock thing, the Bike Club Ultra, if that's even a thing. Let's try bottom keyway tool. It's a tri-axis lock, so we'll see how well this goes with. We're using this number 2. I don't think I'm holding out much for this. It feels like nothing's really happening inside there. Maybe I need something a bit more aggressive on this lock. So let's try this 6. Again, I'm not entirely convinced it's going to do anything, but we'll see. Oh, we've definitely got some binding pins happening there. That's a good sign. Just means that under some quite light tension, might be able to bully them open. Yeah, we have an open. Look at this. There we go. We got it. And that was with number 6 there. Next up, we have this Godred Ultra Sherlock. I don't think we're going to rake this one open. I know that you can rake some of these locks open, but it does sort of depend on their bitting. And this one's quite good, and it's a tri-axis lock, so I don't know where we're going to get with this. I'm going to try and go in with this 6 rake again, with the turning tool which came with the kit. I could try maybe a different rake. Now I've given this one a go for a while.
Two hours later.
Maybe back to the 6, and then I think we might have to call this one. Not saying it can't be raked, but it isn't being raked by me today. Well, since we are here, we might as well try and do this Lips Octro. Since we're here, we might as well give this Lips Octro. Since we're here, we might as well give this Lips Octro a chance, but I'm not convinced because this is a very good lock, and once again, that turning tool won't go in, so we're going to choose this twisted bottom and keyway turner like that, and we're just going to try our best with, I don't know, let's try number 4 here, and just go in and see if we can't try to get something to work. Go on both sides. It's really hard to tell whether anything's actually working in this lock. Let's flip it over and try something like this number 3. I definitely feel some resistance. Oh, no way. That is, no. That I did not expect. We did it. We actually got the open on the Lips Octro. That was not what I expected to happen, and that was this number 3. So here's the bitting. It's not bad. I did not expect that on this lock. Oh, I'm impressed. So the Rakes did a far better job than I actually was thinking they would do, but I haven't used this pick yet, and I'm a bit concerned because it's just so flexible and easily twisted. When I do use picks like this, they are usually like the ones which Talan pick made me, which are like 4 times thicker, very stiff, because you're turning the tips side by side. You're having to press against these pins. So I'm going to try a little bit to pick this one, and this is the easiest one. And I'm going to try a little bit to pick this lock. So probably not too long, and just see if I can go along and find anything to just press in, very light tension, and see if I can just coax and open by single pin picking. But I can tell you that the flex on this is robbing me of any sort of decent feedback. It's not a pleasant picking experience. And no, I've been messing about this lock for about 5 minutes. It seems to go into a bit of a false set type thing here, but I just can't feel with this very, very flexible tiny pick which one of these pins is actually, like, you know, not set or is giving me counter rotation. It's really, really weird. You can see here, it just flexes rather than allows you to pick the pins in the locks, which is a shame. Conclusions time. What do I think to this set? Bearing in mind it was £14.50. Well, clearly the actual rakes do work. They don't feel they're made particularly well, but the material is nice and springy and doesn't sort of stay deformed. I like that. It's good when you're raking and you're putting a bit of pressure on. You don't want it to stay bent like that, you know, you want it to return back to its original position. I do like the fact there's a lot of difference in these rake tips in terms of the peak spacing, the amplitudes, sometimes the wavelengths and stuff. I do like what they've done here, and it is actually needed. I find that certain locks do perform better with different rakes. In terms of the general construction though, I'm not 100% convinced on the handles. They're not bad, but they're not great. They feel a bit cheaper than normal. I wish they were aluminium. They're not. This isn't a screw-off collar. It just sort of, it's friction fits, which is, I guess, okay for what they are. And the tips are held on with a two-piece plastic arrangement, which, again, I don't hate, but I just feel if it was aluminium and I paid an extra £5 for it, I'd appreciate that with like a screw-on collet. I just think that would be a lot nicer. You could even adapt them to your own needs and put in new tips that you created yourself and things. I feel that these plastic handles, whilst okay, just don't really do it for me. Another thing is, of course, this pick. It's not completely unusable, but my goodness, is it very... It's made of the same springy stuff as the rakes, which is great for the rakes, not so great for these picks. It flexes too much. You get robbed of feedback. You can't put a lot of turning force on this tip. So it's a nice idea, but I want this material to be made stiffer and maybe have a couple of different sizes. It would be better. As it stands, not so great. So to sum this setup, it surprised me how well it did work in some quite good locks. So in terms of the turners, these are okay. This is super thick though. To make this useful for a top or bottom of the keyway KABA style lock turner, you need to really grind this down because that's not going to fit in anytime soon. I think with a bit of DIY, this is very, very, very strong. It feels like it's hardened steel. So that would be a great turning tool if modified. As it stands, almost useless. This twisted turning tool, just a twisted turning tool. Nothing wrong about it. Kind of like it. It does work in the right keyway. So that's fine too. The case is perfectly nice. But overall, I don't know. How often are you going to be raking KABA style Dimple locks? Probably not that often. They kind of work. But would you need them? I'm not, like I said, I'm just not convinced with this set. Is it bad? No. Does it work? Yeah. Would I recommend it? Probably not for most people. I just can't see how useful this would be for most lockpickers, lock sporters, even professional locksmiths. I just can't see that this is particularly great, and the construction isn't fantastic. If you have a spare £14.50 and you're interested in raking KABA style Dimple locks, then sure, go ahead, but don't expect too much in terms of quality build and materials. But it's fine. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think to this set. Would you even be interested in this? Do you have a need for it? Do you think anybody does? Let me know in the comments below. Really am interested to hear your thoughts on this one. I do read them all as well and reply to as many as I can. If you like this video, hit that like. If you haven't subscribed, now's a great time to do so for more content like this. Also, you can smash that notification bell because it all really helps me out and I really appreciate it. Otherwise, stay safe, happy picking, and I'll see you all next time.